Good morning and welcome to the All-Star Advocacy Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Castro. Today's episode, we have a very special guest. He is a San Diegan local. He grew up and played baseball in the South Bay, played at San Isidro High School. He ended up doing his junior college at Southwestern College right down the street, and did his undergrad at Texas A&M-Kingsville, where he majored in criminal justice. He went on to play in the Mexican Baseball League for the Sultanes de Monterrey and Pericos de Puebla, and now he runs a baseball academy called Grind Baseball out of Chula Vista here in our South Bay. It is my pleasure to welcome on a friend and, just fellow San Diegan, Wesley Aguilar. Wes, good morning. How are you, man?
Good morning, Michael. Pretty good. How about you, sir?
I'm good. Staying blessed.
That's right.
And, you are, a local here in town that we, cross paths, I want to say early part of this year, just mutual circles, getting to know each other. And it turns out may have crossed paths in the past, just a couple years apart, really, playing the game here in town. And so I'm glad we're crossing paths now because I'm seeing, what you're doing here in our South Bay community. And just wanted to highlight a story of a local, success story who's giving his all to the community. So before we get into that, just wanted to let our folks know a little bit about you, kind of your upbringing and early life. And I am somebody who kind of came to the game late in terms of getting his dual citizenship. My parents, I actually grew up in Mexico, spent the first couple years of my life living there. But, from two on, I've lived here in San Diego. But I understand early, part of your story is, that dual citizenship. And so if we can first, kind of take me through what it was like in, your childhood, your connection to, Tijuana, and, take me through, what that looked like growing up, that cross-border situation and how that kind of shaped you. Because I know so many of our kids these days here in San Diego have that same kind of upbringing, same story.
They do have that, and that's the reason I'm giving back, to be honest. How was it? I guess now that I can go and look back on time, it was hard to wake up at 2 a.m. and go to school. At the moment, I was like, whatever, I have to do it. That helped me a lot through my life when it comes to baseball. Why? The grind, man, it is what it is. You gotta do it. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. That's what I tell the kids. You just gotta deal with it. It was fun though. Don't get me wrong. Living in Mexico, it was fun. I still go there often. My family lives there. It's different than here. I remember I used to, when we just moved here, it was weird that you don't see nobody outside in the streets. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, why nobody's outside, right? And in Mexico, you get like after school, you go outside and play with your friends, your cousins or whoever. That over there we're pretty tight, pretty. That's how Latino families are.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. We started waking up at 3 a.m. when after the Twin Towers. So that was the
2001, right?
Yeah. So we used to be at the border for like 5 or 6 hours. It was miserable, and we would still be late sometimes.
Wow. So you wake up at 2 a.m. after 9/11 happened and just security and everything kind of getting beefed up, just to make it to class on this side. At what time? Like when school starts 7?
7:45, 8. Yeah.
Sometimes.
But like I said, for us, it was like whatever. Like there was no option. You see nowadays, some kids, they're like, oh, I don't want to do this, and they don't do it.
Yeah.
For us, it was like, hey, we have to do it. It was, like I said, it was tough I want to say the first year, because we're coming here, waking up at that time, not even knowing the language. I remember I used to just sit and just stare at the teacher. And uh, we never asked our parents, like, hey, why are we here? No, for us, it was like, hey, we're moving, we're going over there, and we got to wake up early. We wake up early and call it a day, you know what I mean? And you know what's the thing about it? After going to school, it was baseball. So it was a long day every single day. We used to get home when it was practice. We like a practice baseball day. We used to get home like around 8:30, 9-ish, because we used to get out at 3, and then no, like 2:30. Practice was like 3:15. From 3:15 to 6, and then to traffic, and then blah blah blah. We used to get back in the house like around 8, shower, do the homework, and go to bed like 11:30.
Jesus.
Because it used to take us forever to do the homework, because we didn't know the language. So back in the day, there was no computer. Computer was for rich people because of the internet. There was no internet.
It was just the early days starting out, and people who had access to that technology,
it was expensive.
Kids these days, they grow up with laptops and 3rd, 4th grade, and they've got Wi-Fi, and it's all, but it just speak on, what you had to do in order to kind of adapt to that situation growing up in elementary school, middle school. Like, what did you have to do in those cases?
Honestly, I don't know what I had to do, because I just did it. You know what I mean? There was no option. It was like, whatever, like, we're here. I guess I need to learn the language. I guess I need to wake up early. I guess I was pretty strong mentally, and that's how I am. Like, as soon as I make a decision, I'm all in. I think that's the reason why I'm all in every time I make a decision, because when I was little, there was no options. Like, hey, we're gonna go over there. Either you like it or not, we're going.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a grind. It was a pain in the butt, but at the end of the day, it was worth it, I think. We came to the States without knowing the language, without knowing that there's scholarships for baseball players. We didn't even knew that you could play baseball while you were going to school in high school until we got here. So we didn't came to the States for baseball. We were not looking for a scholarship at the beginning. Mm-hmm. We came to the States just like any other kid around here in my community I know they're going through that. Just to learn another language, to have a better life, to have a better future. And one thing that I'm going to tell all those kids is worth it, man. Just grind it out. Like, if you're waking up early right now to go to school, cross the border, hey, it's worth it. At the end of the day, the degree talks. So all that pain in the ass that we went through it. My brother has a degree. I have a degree now. My sister, she's gonna get her degree like in 2-3 weeks, or I don't know when graduation is gonna be. So yeah, it's worth it. So keep doing it. Like, it's God's plan. I guess it's good that you gotta wake up early. So that's God's plan, that you gotta be the guy to wake up early. That's the way I see it. And it was tough. But like I said, when they asked me like how you did it, I was like, well, I just did it. There's no options.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how a lot of the Latinos that live here in the States, that's how they live. There's no options. So you got to do it. Like, you got to find a way.
Yeah.
A lot of immigrant people. I guess I was lucky. I was still crossing the border. There's a lot of immigrants that wake up at that time and they don't even see their parents or their family for so long. So for me, how we went through that, we just went through it. Can't complain.
Yeah. No, there's no negotiating it. It's adapt. And, I think it's led a lot of, from your early years, it's translated into what you're preaching to your players these days, is that keeping a strong mentality, and what the end goal is, you may not know, but with your, with your story, your lived experience, you can teach them, hey, look, like, this is just something that's going to build character, and I'm going to be there every step of the way to help guide you. But, this is something that will actually end up benefiting you, strengthening your mind, giving you work ethic, and putting you in uncomfortable situations early on in your life. So you don't really grow up, thinking, having a different mentality on what the world is, because at the end of the day, you got to be prepared for, whatever. It's not just to fly through, for a lot of people immigrating, and a lot of people just getting to this country and learning to assimilate. And so I guess my next question is, I know you and your family, you prided yourself on just figuring out a way, but was there somebody, maybe a coach in like middle school or even high school, or somebody, a mentor that, helped you in this approach, that you thought, okay, you know what, he or she is helping me along this way, and that's what's keeping me, focused on getting to that next level and succeeding?
Yeah, there was a lot of people. Going back to the other question, the first one.
Yeah.
You're right. That thing that prepared me to go to college and be like, yeah, I got a scholarship. Boom, go. I'll get my plane. Boom, that. You know what I mean? Like, I never doubted. There's a lot of kids here, and it's sad that they're doubting. Like, oh, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave home. I don't want to do this. My parents, blah 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 blah. I'm like, no, just take your chances. I think it's whenever you get an opportunity, doesn't matter if it's a 20%, a walk on, 100% scholarship. Just leave, man. That's God is sending you that note. Leave, go over there. So take advantage of it. And on this question, there was a lot of people that guide me in elementary, but nobody, because but I started playing high school as a sixth grader because I had an older brother. So I started playing high school at Montgomery as a sixth grader. Mm-hmm. And Hermosillo was the one that guided me through, like, hey, there's high school baseball. And then George Garcia, when I went to middle school, he was the Montgomery Middle School. He was guiding me through, like, hey, this is a process of now you're here, now you're living here, because at that point we were living now in States. Mm-hmm. This is a baseball you got to play. I went to Montgomery for 1 year, and then I moved to San Isidro because I heard wonderful things about Coach Canche. And everything I heard, it was right. He was the one that actually guided me what's after high school, He was the one that guided me, take your SATs, take your ACTs, your GPA, what classes you need to take, what schools you can apply. I think the other ones, yes, they helped me to go to the high school level-ish, what's next. Mm-hmm. But like the real next step, it was Coach Hunter. And he's doing it for 15 years at San Isidro. And the good thing about it is that most of the kids that he sends, they're like in the same story I was.
Wow.
So just like me, there's 20, 30 more kids like that went through that, at least in San Isidro program. But yeah, he was the one that took me, like, hey, this is the next route, because I guess I was ready to play college like as a sophomore. Like I was.
It's okay. You can say you were a prospect coming out of the South Bay.
I was kind of like that, but not really. I was not the best. There were better players than me, but I was there. You know what I mean? Like I was there. I will never say that I'm going to be the best when it comes to like baseball, because it's a lot of talent. Everything can change from one day to the next when you're playing. But he was the one that guided me. Boom. As a sophomore, he was like, hey, do this, do that, take this test, take this exam, your GPA, this is what's next for you. And he was the one that took me to the next step. Yeah. And to this day, I'm always grateful, thankful. And he knows that whatever he needs, I'm there. Boom. And he's that type of coach too. Don't get me wrong. Once you're with him, he tells you, once you're committed with me 100%, I'll be with you 100% to your day. So, and he's like that.
I mean, and that's the benefit of getting into sports young and having those types of mentors that can not only teach you the fundamentals on the field, get you, ready to play, but it's that sense of like, I'm going to get you to the next step. I'm going to teach you about, the scholarship opportunity differences between D1 and D2, and, the benefit of going the JC route versus, going straight to a program. And I think I'm watching you and the way you work with your kids at Grind, and it's that same mentality of like, I'm gonna get you in the best position to succeed and just grow on the field, off the field, grow as a person. And so I guess you play high school ball, you go to Southwestern, do kind of the JC route, and then you end up playing at Texas A&M-Kingsville, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to, after seeing, a criminal justice major, I had to ask, what was your decision, or I guess, a reason why you decided to major in that?
Before answering that question, what we were talking about, the coaches and me that I'm coaching, at the end of the day, that's what we coach for. Yeah. It's a good feeling when you're like, hey, I took that player to this. Hey, I sent that player to that school. They come back with a degree, and it's a good feeling. Not only with a degree, but having successful in baseball, having a successful career under college, school, whatever. That's a good feeling, and I think that's a moneymaker for us.
Changing their lives.
Changing their lives, helping the community. You're sending a kid that doesn't have a degree, you're bringing back a professional kid. Mm-hmm. With the degree. So that's the cool part about it, to be honest. And I've been doing it for 3 years now. Why criminal justice? Because I know they make
It's a loaded question. It's a loaded question.
So we used to cross, right, every single day. At first, it's weird. It's crazy. Look, when I was little, I used to tell myself, I'm going to be a teacher, because they have a lot of breaks, right? A lot of breaks when it comes to like school breaks, like at summer and then winter.
Yeah. My mom's a teacher, and she's got the best schedule in the world. 3 months off, right, for vacation, in the summertime. Yeah.
When I was little, I was like, I'm gonna be a teacher. And then we're like, a lot of teachers like, yeah, but we don't make a lot of money, blah blah blah. And I started researching. I was like, whatever. And then we started crossing, and I was like, I'm gonna be a U.S. Custom, because I started asking, I was like, how, like, money-wise, financially, and all that stuff. I was like, yeah, we need decent money, blah blah blah, and it's cool. I kind of like it. I like all that scenarios and stuff. But I think for now, at the end of the day, God took me to be a baseball teacher. So why criminal justice? I got criminal justice. I'm probably gonna start my master's in August. It's gonna be sociology. So why criminal justice? I guess because I like it. I just like it. Why I haven't applied for a job in criminal justice? Because baseball and God hasn't let me.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was just, it's intriguing to understand, because when I majored in undergraduate political science, it's just your lived experience. It's what's, what interests you and what you can see. Maybe, hey, I could be passionate in this career, and you don't know where life is going to take you after that. Right?
You don't know where life is going to take you. But since day one, college coaches were like, even the high school coaches was like, you're going to be a coach. Even the professional coaches were like, hey, you're going to be a coach. So
it's your nature. It's your
so demeanor. I guess it was my nature. Let me charge my phone because it already has 20%. I guess it was my nature, but yeah, I majored in criminal justice, and I don't know, I might never work. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's an opportunity, and all you're doing is opening up windows in your life for these directions to take, right? And so after college, you get into, playing in the Mexican League. Take me through, just with the heritage, right? And having the experience early on. Not only are you playing with, top tier guys in the Mexican League, pros and, people from all over the world. What was that like, getting a chance to play, in the Mexican League for the time that you did?
It was fun, man. It was really fun. It was different than college. More pressure when it comes to like get the job done, but at the same time, less pressure. Because coaches over there, they're like, you're here for a reason. Like, you're good. Don't worry about it. That in college, you're trying to improve. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. Some coaches in college, they get sometimes they get rattled. They get wild. They scream a lot. They do all that stuff. And I get it. I understand. I'm all into that. But I was expecting that in pro ball. It's a whole different story. In pro ball, it's like, you make an error, you strike out, you get a hit. It's your job. So that's the difference. It helped me a lot. I wish I had that same mentality when I was still playing college. Because it was like I'm all right. Like, I'll be fine. It's tough because you don't know when it's going to be the last day.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that you don't understand until you're there. Like, until you get to until the first release happens, because I got released twice. You're like, okay, when is going to be the last day? So one thing that I'm going to tell the kids, enjoy it, because you don't know when it's going to be the last game. Enjoy it. But it was fun, though. I learned a lot. I played with a lot of big dogs, like you said, that played in the big leagues. Any guy that played in the big leagues has my respect, because it's hard. So, and even professional athletes from another league, because it's hard. But it was fun, though. Like I said, I learned a lot. I learned now the system that I'm teaching coaching. I learned most of it through the professional level. College, yes, I learned a lot of things, but professional level, once you start talking with professional athletes, what they went through, how they made it to the big league, why they were successful, their approach at the plate, their approach every game, talking to coaches and stuff, like you start learning more things with guys that have been there for 10, 15, 20, 50 years,
Yeah.
So it was fun, but I think God took me there so I can learn more and teach it to the kids.
That's exactly what I was going to transition to, man. You read my mind, right? So it's you use those relationships, use those experiences, and following that period, you now got this academy that you run. The focus is primarily on the South Bay, the Sweetwater, Union District kids, and getting them the fundamentals, getting them through high school, getting them into college, continuing that work ethic. But you're using, you're taking those experiences and you're giving direct knowledge from these experiences to even the pros that you work with. Like you also work with, older guys, college, minors and current pros. Can you talk about that relationship of being able to, be that kind of mentor and the fulfillment you get for you just taking all that information and just going direct to the source because you have that trust with these kids?
It's cool, but sometimes you don't even know that you're doing that because they're just translating what you learn to the kids. But I get a lot of text messages from parents, even from kids. Most of the kids, they ask for my phone number. They go ahead, text me whenever you need me. They're like, for example, we went to a tournament this weekend in Houston. 10-day was show win, and we faced 4 or 5 kids that I worked with. One of them hit a double off the wall. And just look at me like, hey, what's up, coach? I hit you.
You taught me that.
Yeah. So you don't even know that you're translating those little things to the kids. And then, like, you're just doing it because you have to do it, because that's why. Like, you learn, you get paid for that. but it's cool. It's cool, and it's weird sometimes that I get text messages from parents. It's like, please talk to my son. He doesn't listen to me. He just listens to you. If you talk to him, trust me, he'll listen. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's kind of cool. Like, all right, they respect coach. They know, because they know that what I'm teaching is working for them. So I think a lot of the kids, they see me as an older brother, I guess. Older brother, an uncle, and they know that I'm going to be there. And like I tell my kids, just like my high school coach told me, if you're loyal to me, I'll be loyal to you. And that's what I tell the kids. As I said, like, same thing. I tell the kids, if you guys are loyal to me, I'll be loyal to you every single time. So, but it's cool that you build that relationship with the future not only in baseball, but future in our community. And you start meeting more people, and you start meeting cool people too, like people that are gonna help you along the way. Maybe you always got to treat people right, because maybe those kids that you're teaching, they're going to teach your kids, my grandkids, or I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's cool that I'm giving back, I guess.
Yeah. You spoke to right now about loyalty, and that segues kind of right into, the next question is, because what we do at All-Star Advocacy, our primary group that we're speaking to is our youth here in San Diego. And, what would you say is the best way you're able to communicate and get through to them, get the best out of your players, right? But also get them to, really listen, throughout 2020, 2021 now. This is a time where, routine and having a comfort zone and your usual daily life hasn't been possible. So I guess what would you say is like your, I don't want to say, secret, but in what ways are you able to just go directly to these children and really get through to them?
Well, 2020 was a weird year. It was weird for everybody. It's still weird, kind of like now, because everything's not open, but it's still weird, right? The only thing that I used to tell the kids while we were going through this is like, just keep working, keep getting better. Find a way to get better. If you cannot go ahead at the park, because at the one moment parks were closed, well, get a net. If you don't have a net, take dry swings. Do some push-ups. If the gyms are closed, do some push-ups, some jump squats, some body weight. Get a tennis ball. I'll just toss it off the wall. Just find a way. Some of the kids, actually, it's weird to say it. Some of the kids, it was a blessing that the pandemic happened, because they got better. Because they were not playing, but they were practicing every single day. So there was nothing else to do. So while a lot of kids that it didn't work out, some of the kids were working out at home every single day. So now you see kids, and you're like, oh, you were doing something in the pandemic. So I can see it. There's a kid named Cameron Buck. Before the pandemic, he was like this big. He started lifting during the pandemic, and now he ain't super big, but like, you can see muscles now. He grew 3-4 inches, but he was always working. And he's like a perfect example of a kid that if you put the work in, you're probably not going to be a superstar, but you're going to get better. Make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a hard year for the kids, but I guess it happened. And go ahead.
Sorry. I guess the commonality is that even throughout the circumstances that we can't control, your advice to them was, look, like, you just got to keep working. You got to keep at it to keep your sanity, to keep you have to create a routine. You
always got to find a way to get better. It doesn't matter where you're at. Because there's always one kid getting better than you. There's one kid working more than you.
Yeah.
Can be in the Dominican, can be in Puerto Rico, can be in Venezuela. And trust me, those kids, they don't feel sorry for themselves.
Yeah.
They don't, because they're used to that. It's sad to say it, but they're used to
But that's real. That's so important to say because that's real.
Yeah. They're used to maybe not even having a glove. They're used to not even having a bat. So they find a way. They find a way to get better, and that's what I tell my kids: find a way to get better. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you control. The only thing that you can control is how hard you work. That's it. Your work ethic. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control the pandemic. You cannot control the horrible calls from the umps, the good calls from the umps, the dirt of the field, the grass. None of that. The only thing that you can control is how the work ethic, how much you're gonna put in, and how much do you want it. And it's all about how much do you want it. Because sometimes you see kids that they like baseball, but they don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
They want to play, and it's fine. They want to play for fun, that's fine. But the hard part is have kids that want it, that want to play for fun, they actually enjoy the game. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong of not wanting it. If you want to play it for fun and just go through the motions and play high school, cool.
Mm.
But I think once the kid learns how to play for fun, enjoy the game, and actually put the work in and want it, it's just that's when you make the click, and it's just different. And as a coach, it's easier because you can push them more.
Yeah, and they're receptive. Once they have that kind of trifecta, they're in tune, and it's like, hey, look, I'm with you. I'm yours.
Yeah, and that's, for example, last night, I have a 7U kid. He's all into baseball. I know he's 7. I know you got to teach him fundamentals. I know that. But every time that kid comes, his name is Derek Pettis. Coach, I want to be a professional baller. I want to be a professional. I want to be the next Tatis. And it's impressive, but he wants it already. Because you can see it, like every hack, he's like, what I did good, what I did bad. He's always asking.
At 7.
At 7. It's impressive. I know it's 7, coaches. I know that. But he's telling me that at 7, he already wants it. Like he's always watching TV, baseball, always asking questions. How can I get better at 7? So I told him, hey, you want to get to the big leagues or you want to get a scholarship? Yeah, let me work you. Let me push you a little bit more. He was like, I'm all yours, coach. You can do whatever you want because I want to be there. So like I said, once I know he's 7, I'm not going to push him hard. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to get him in his mind that, hey, it ain't going to be easy. Coaches are going to push you. Coaches, sometimes we got to, as coaches, we got to take players out of their comfort zone. Why? Because you're not always going to be in your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, we got to scream, we got to yell, we got to tell them, hey, you're wrong. Why? Because you got to make them feel that, oh, I'm out of my comfort zone. How I'm gonna react? What's my next step? You know what I mean? And that's when you start building mentality, mental toughness. So a lot you gotta do with all that. You gotta do all that with as a coach. Because you're gonna go through that in the process of playing, in the process of going to school and achieving that degree and still play at the same time. A lot of parents don't know that because a lot of parents, they haven't gone through it, but that's why we're here.
Right.
That's the reason.
You have that credibility because you can tell them, hey, look, this is where I'm at. And I didn't understand when I was your age, but I needed to have that same kind of, being pushed and getting out of my comfort zone. And shout out to Mr. 7U. We'll see you in about 15 years in the show.
Yeah, that kid cracks me up, man. He's funny. He wants it. He's like, I'm gonna be the next Tatis. I'll be better than Tatis.
Oh wow! All right.
That's crazy. I tell him you can.
Absolutely.
You just gotta put the work in. That's it.
I guess where I kind of want to go now is, it's still on that coaching path, but kind of a separate question. Do you feel like you've got that same kind of influence for your boys, that you coach for off the field issues? So, they look to you for guidance and your advice on, everything between the lines, right? But, if there are things happening in their communities or even like in their household, right? Do they come to you with anything like that? And how do you handle that?
They do. But one thing that I tell the kids is at the end of the day, he's your dad, she's your mom, and you got to listen to them. Now you're telling me things, but I'm going to trust your parents when they're telling me. I can listen to you, but at the end of the day, they're their parents. So a few of them, they do come. But it's cool. That's a cool part about being a coach. You know what I mean? Like, they have that confidence. And yeah, I have gone through that.
Yeah. Yeah. And with the different age groups that you're saying, the 7Us, the 10s, the 12s, the 14s, and guys out of high school. What would you say is the age group that is, maybe most in tune with not necessarily world events, but things happening, in their neighborhood, in their community? Certain kids that are already starting to understand, I guess, the differences or the advantages this next generation has in terms of their reach, whether it's social media or, just information and how accessible it is. What age group that you're working with would you say, like, oh, these kids right now, they surprise me with the stuff that they're saying or they're learning?
I think 12-year and down. And I think the 7 years, the 8 years, oh my God, they're going to have so much technology now, 20 years from now. Not even 20 years, 10 years from now. When they go to college, then when they go to college or high school, there's going to be so much technology that it's going to be wow. For example, the kids in high school right now, they're going through the technology of, in baseball wise, the blast motion, the Rapsodo, that tells you your swing, backspin, the spin of the ball, how the pitcher's throwing the ball, everything. That's kind of new. It's been here for like, 5 years, 4 years. But now people are starting to use it. I don't want to imagine how's it going to be for those 7 years, 10 years when they're in college. You're going to see everything.
Different game.
It's going to be a whole different game. It's a different game now. When I was a kid, it's totally a different game. Well, it's the same game, but it has changed, Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. We got to adapt to what's new. I'm not a big fan of technology yet. I like it when it comes to like baseball stuff. I like it because it gives you a lot of info. But sometimes too much info can damage you.
That's kind
sometimes,
of. I had. Sorry, go ahead.
Sometimes, for example, as a hitter, you just got to feel it. The numbers might be bad, but if you feel it, you're gonna be all right because it's all here. You know what I mean? Yes, I do some technology things with my kids, but I don't, not too much. Just simple stuff, bat speed or on plane, stuff like that. But that's it. I think too much technology can get your mind.
Yeah. It's so crazy. I was just on a call, I think last night it was, just on a Saber Analytics conference call. And obviously with our new Padre, Blake Snell, and everything that happened in Game 6 of the World Series, he's dealing and Kevin Cash pulls him. He's about to go 3 times through the lineup. Everybody, it's on the world stage, what Saber Analytics, the worst part of it, right? It's But how did the Dodgers, win that game? They won it because they bullpenned the whole game. So in a sense, they did. I mean, baseball is using, the data. At the same time, what you're saying, and I think a great approach to keep it, at least for the fundamentals, teaching these youth age kids, you got to have a feel for it. You have to have your gut instinct. That is what's going to dictate these parents maybe want to keep their kids at a certain pitch count, or, not throw, velo, but at the end of the day, it's, you gotta do the numbers kind of later on, and first establish that, the fundamentals.
Yeah. And that's the main thing with kids. Fundamentals is the most important thing. Lessons wise, I don't go crazy with kids. I just teach them, hey, the way to group the bat. You got to be squared to the plate. Everything starts from the bottom. Little things like that, right? I don't even put the machine to kids sometimes, because I think they got to learn fundamentals. They got to hit the tee. They got to hit some frontals, softalls, and teach them a few things, and that's it. Because once you start teaching them a lot, their mind goes crazy. Once you start putting the numbers, the technology to a kid that is 10, 11, 12, and you start, hey, your lunge angle's here. I'm not a lunge angle fan, but your lunge angle's here, the numbers is here, blah, blah, blah. Just a bunch of numbers. The kid's is going to be like, he's not even going to be thinking about the ball.
Right.
He's going to be thinking, hit it as hard as I can, because I want my numbers to be here. Like, no. Like I said, I was a feeling guy. I was a guy that was like, I had a bad BP. But once the game is on the line, once it's 7 p.m., I was like, all right, I feel good. Sometimes it takes one swing to come back and feel good again. Makes sense? So I think that's how baseball works. Numbers are great, yes, because they tell you everything. But sometimes if you use it more than a lot, can be
detrimental.
Yeah, exactly. Can get you in the other path, in the other way that you don't want to be.
Right. Get the fundamentals down, man. Sack bunts and moving runners over.
Oh yeah. Well, you saw.
I've come out and watched, how your games, and how these kids are, just learning kind of the right way, I would say.
And you saw that we're like every single pitch, we're like on them, like do this, do that, good lead, hustle, your swing, boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, for us, it's fundamental things. You need to show our warm up. We do ladder drills, we do cones, we do push-ups, we do warm ups. Like, we do all that before we start throwing, because I think we gotta wake them up. You gotta get that blood flow going before you start throwing a baseball, swinging a bat, and it's fun. That's the fun thing about playing baseball, and that the preparation, everything that you do for one game. But it's not for one game, it's just for them. At the end of the day, everything that we do is for this. I think we as coaches, we're just like another teacher in school. You do that for the kid. You want the kids right now better and ready. So
at the end of the day, man, it's the path you've created is as a teacher, right? It's as a coach, a mentor, but it's a community leader, because you're investing, and then you're seeing that return with guys that, hey, I just recently saw you guys signed, or somebody you coached and worked with is now in the Padres system, right? So it's just teaching this next generation of players, and I think where that coincides with All-Star Advocacy, right, is our job is to educate and mentor our San Diegan youth about issues outside the lines, voter education, about being engaged with your community, about local issues going on. And so, I guess my next question is, what would you tell your guys, at all levels, whether it's 7U or, hey, I just got signed by a major league ball club, on the importance of having that same mental toughness, that same grind, that same work ethic, to maybe some issues outside of the baseball game, outside of the lines, to issues happening in their neighborhoods?
Just stay locked in. If you want to be a professional player, everything that happens outside of the lines, worry about that later. Once you're in the lines, it's all baseball. It's hard to say it, it's hard to do it, but you can do it.
You're saying while playing, while in the game, nothing but baseball, right? Like
not only in the game, but like once getting ready, like go lift, concentrate on what you're doing on your goal. Once you're done, now you can concentrate of the other problem. It's hard to say it, but that's the best advice I can. I haven't gone through that, so you know what I mean. It's kind of tricky question for me.
Yeah.
Because when I went through it, but when I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna be a baseball player. I'm gonna be a baseball player. Right. And I was not the kid that I was always in problems. I was never in problems. You know what I mean? So I knew that what I wanted since day one.
Right. So. And I think that's kind of the issue of our times, right? You guys that I've had on the podcast, they speak to, look, things were fine when I grew up. I just could focus on sports and getting good grades, and that's the only thing that was really in the news. But as technology, information, everything's really advanced, we're having to deal with these issues, right? In our society, to where even at the youth, middle school, high school level, some kids can't help but, this is what's going on. I can't not listen to what's going on. But you're speaking to exactly having that mental focus on, if you're going to excel at this sport, you do need to.
You got to want it. Yeah, you got to concentrate and want it. You know what I mean? And technology, yes, has ruined a lot of players because they don't work as hard anymore. But because we didn't went through it, so I don't know what they're thinking. You know what I mean? Like I went through when I was playing, there was no technology. For us, it was like, screw the phone. I don't want to be watching TV. For us, it was different.
Yeah.
I don't want to be watching TV. I want to be outside.
Right.
So right now that it has changed.
Especially with the pandemic, keeping everybody indoors.
Exactly. We as an adults, now we start learning like, hey, these kids are more into the computers. So one thing that I want to tell the parents is like, just push your kids, man. If you really want your son to go get a scholarship, push it. Leave that phone away. Create some time, make some time to push the kid, to work extra with your son. Go to the park, exercise. Have a plan during the week. What's going to be your goal this week? Maybe 100 push-ups, maybe 100 good swings, maybe 100 squats. Maybe don't miss a ground ball throughout the week, or every ground ball that you miss is going to be 50 push-ups. Have a plan, because I think technology is killing a lot of kids. But when it comes to like sports, but at the same time, parents are letting that happen. Oh, I don't want my kid to be crying. Oh, I'll use my phone. Oh, just turn on the TV. Oh, I'll be there and just watch, I don't know, whatever's on TV for 5-6 hours. And kids are just sitting on the couch. I think I'm not a dad, I'm not a parent, but I think technology has made some parents lazy.
For sure.
And
as a substitute, just put this on and that'll, pacify, I totally understand where you're coming from with that. And, I agree with that sentiment. I think we need to get more back to, as things, open back up here this spring and summer, exactly what you're talking about is that interaction, is that, just being able to communicate and just things like, social interactions. I think we did take a hit this year in terms of our youth and our, even high school age, college age kids, on just like basic interactions, and getting back to, okay, we're able to socialize again. We're able to just get away from, the data, the technology, and back into what makes us, better humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I said, technology is good for you, but it can be bad for you. And it can be bad for you when you're still playing college or professional, because You can't be posting stupid stuff in social media because you're gonna get out.
Yes.
So you got to be smart about it. You got to be smart about it too.
Yeah, these kids are dealing with a whole nother animal, man. It's a whole nother world.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and we're sure learning too, even though we're young, but we're learning because we didn't went through that.
We're right in the middle. We're like just
two
different eras. I got a couple more questions for you, and then I'll let you go because I know you got a busy day ahead of you. I guess going back to the area, or I guess the age group that you work with, which are your older guys, maybe college, maybe guys in the minors, or maybe even pros. What would you say as, is the collective vibe or the feel for where primarily, Latin guys, Mexican, Dominican, wherever, in being politically active in their communities? Where do you think that is on while they're on their rise in their career, or if they're already in the major leagues? What would you say is the sense of, primarily because the target group here is Latin guys? What would you say is the feel on being active as baseball players?
Active in the community? Active
in terms of maybe speaking out on issues that they feel, hey, this affects me, or this affects my community or my people or my country.
It's good until a certain point, I guess.
Speak about that. What do you mean to a certain point?
Well, at the end of the day, they're paying you, or you're in college because of baseball, not political things.
Right.
You gotta, if you gotta raise your voice, do it on a proper way, not disrespecting nobody, but don't try to just take advantage of your stage and just do it every single time. There's a point that it might get wild. So use it, but until a certain way, I think.
And when you say, I guess, every single time or that way, is that because you think it would water down the message, it would not?
Yeah, I think so. Because then people are gonna be like, "Oh, again, this guy." You know what I mean? Have a point and just raise your voice. It makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't have nothing wrong against that, but if you want to raise your voice, do it. If you want to do it because you're going to help a lot of kids, do it. I raise my voice differently, trying to make people understand that there's more Mexican Americans in my community that are good enough like me to go to college. So you can raise your voice differently. Can be in a political way, can be in a different way, like I did. That's the reason we've been sending guys to college.
Right. That is a stance that you're taking. That's the way you're able to say, hey, look, we're going to thrive. Our community is going to get better. We're going to, change people's lives through sport. And so I guess that ties into my last question, because a lot of these kids, their goal is, hey, I want to make it to the show. Major League Baseball is where I want to head. And given, I guess, the year that we just had, right, as a country, as a society, really, do you feel, because you have such ties to, Major League Baseball or guys, that are in it, what kind of job do you think they're doing in, I guess, catching up to the times in terms of where the NBA or NFL, in terms of those same issues, right? Where do you feel Major League Baseball stands, given your lived experience?
Well, MLB it's changing a lot. It's a young game. Now you see guys 32, 33
that's considered old.
they're old. And I think that's the way they wanted to go. And that's the way soccer went. If you notice, soccer, from 20 to 32, you're legit. Now you start going downhill. And in baseball, it was the other way around. from 28 to 35, 36, you were the guy. You were like, from 28 to 34, you were like on your prime. NBA too, like the young stars are the superstars. I think baseball went that way and it's staying that way, and it's not going to change into who knows when. Mm-hmm. They're doing it that way, one, because nowadays kids are so good, man. It's unreal. I just went to this perfect game and I was impressed of how much talent there is. Kids at 14 throwing 85, 84, 86, 87. At 14. Yeah, kids at 12 throwing 78, 79, 77. I'm like, wow. It's just the young generation is the boost right now. I guess they're so explosive because all that extra work that they put in when it comes to like weightlifting, trainers, stuff like that. They're powerful because of that too. Technology helps too, so the game a little bit more. They're just different animals right now. Yeah. And it's changing. Well, we got to change, but I think it's changing too because a lot of people don't know it. But I'm going to say teams don't want to pay. They just want to pay one guy now. They don't want to have 6, 7, 8, 9 contracts over $20 million. But why they don't want to pay? Because in their philosophy, in their mind is like, if we sign them young, we put them in the big leagues young. At 20, 21, he's going to be in the big leagues. He's going to be with us for 5, 6 years. At 27, 28, he's going to be a free agent. He's going to get one good contract, and by 34, he's going to be done. He ain't done, but and like they kick him out, like like they don't want him. They don't sign him again. Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of what I can't help but think with Tatis and what his deal does. It's kind of the anomaly of that kind of mentality, and that like it's an investment for 14 years as opposed to, I don't know, say something like a Trevor Bauer contract, right? Like a ton of money, but for a couple years only. And that's
but they're 14 years because he's 20, 21. I don't know. He's 20, 21 years old, 22?
22 maybe.
it's 14 years because of that.
Yeah.
They're not going to, before 10 years ago, 15 years ago,
they'd give that
you used to see a lot of 10-year contracts.
Yeah.
A-Rods, Pujols, a lot of them. Yeah. Bodo, a lot of them. Now they don't want that because they don't want to pay. And that's a problem that they have with the Players Association. They're fighting for that. The Players Association also wants a DH. MLB doesn't want a DH because why? Because now you got to sign 15 more DHs. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're going to be worth $5 or $6 million, mm-hmm. maybe 10, 15. The Nelson Cruz, all those guys. So that's why MLB is like, no, let's keep it as American League DH and National League. Right? Like all those little things that as a fan people don't see, right. But that's the business side of the game. Yeah, the kids are so good right now, but there's a lot of guys that at the end of the day, one thing that I tell people that I know when we talk baseball, at the end of the day, in playoffs, veterans are the ones that play.
They produce. I think you just put up a stat this week of Yachty. The numbers don't lie, Numbers
don't lie, man. At the end of the day, like, for example, they're saying, oh, he's old. I was like, come on, dude. He's the best catcher ever. Simple. Numbers don't lie. No, he can take a decent pitcher to be a star pitcher. Like those type of players, come on, they don't get old. The older they're like wine. The older they get, the better they get. the Jerry Molinas, the Carlos Beltran, like because they get wiser, they get smarter. They like the Wainwrights. Those guys, they're good, man. And I think in my opinion, I think they need to start going back, like not too young. It's fine to have a young sport, but there's a lot of veterans at 34, 35, 33 that can help a lot. Mm-hmm. Not only the team, but the youth.
Right.
So to be honest, a lot of people say this is the best time to watch baseball. Not for me. For me, it was early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. But it was more like in the 90s. Right now, there's a lot of strikeouts. For me, it's just boring to watch. I like the squeeze plays. I like the guys who used to steal 60, 70 bases, like Jose Reyes, like Ricky Henderson. I like the small ball, the action, diving plays. Now a lot of professional guys, they don't dive because they don't want to get hurt because of the contract. Things like that. Yes, there's more bombs. There's more youth. There's less action.
Yeah, and that's what I think ties this conversation together so well, is that, you know, we're able to see in the last 10, 15 years of playing, watching, and being, you know, involved in the sport, is watching what it's become, but also, you know, it's a young man's game, but at the same time, you have a position here in our community to mold, not just what you want to see, but I think what a lot of people watching this sport who loved it and will continue to stay engaged in it, the right way to play and the right way to go about everything. And that's what you're trying to do. And in the process, you're changing kids' lives. You're getting them to that next level. And, you know, the return, like you spoke about earlier, is just seeing them come back and, you know, what they've been able to accomplish. And so, yeah, man, it's crazy that we've crossed paths, but I have a feeling that this is not going anywhere. Grind is here to stay, and we just can't thank you enough for taking the time to talk to us about, you know, what you do here in San Diego. And if you can, man, just let us know kind of what you have going on here. It's, you know, March, but this spring or this summer, later this year, whether it's tournaments or, you know, guys to look out for, or, you know, what do you got going on coming up here?
Yeah, we're going to be playing during the week at Sequan, practicing, and then doing a few tournaments. I'm probably going to head to spring training to watch a few guys play, a few of my friends. They're just signing one of our guys too, Victor Lizarraga. He's in the DR. Like you said, that's once you start seeing that result and stuff like that, that's where you're like, all right, it's cool, it's fun. I want to do this forever. We're going to have a college program for the guys that we already sent to college. We're going to put them on the summer league. That's going to be, I guess, our next big thing. I call it big thing because we're going to be the first team in the South Bay that is going to do that, ever. Because I haven't seen a guy in the South Bay to, like, hey, get all those guys from college to play here and let's stick it together. Let's put them on the summer league. We're going to do that. My brother's going to be in charge of that, Ricardo Aguilar. About the youth, I'll be helping CT prospects keep doing what they're doing, like going to big tournaments and stuff like that, and potential merge with them. And as of now, that's the future of Grand Baseball and Coach West, and hopefully better things are coming.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I could feel the energy. Well, dude, I just want to thank you again for taking the time to talk with us about your lived experience, you know, your upbringing and that grind mentality, and, you know, turning young, you know, players into great men here in town. And we'll stay in tune. We'll be watching what comes of this summer league, and man, it's been great to have you on. So I just wanted to thank you, and yeah, man, take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Stay safe.
All right, brother.
All right.